We'll pick up a couple of questions. The morning mind is a mess. The teacher did not explain. He emphasized the right knowledge, but what is that right knowledge? And what the mind is doing either with the right knowledge or the wrong knowledge. A lot of questions they may arise. But one thing is there, we have to follow the three steps religiously to succeed in mindfulness or any meditation. Shravanam, uh, listening and learning to the principles of Eastern wisdom. So once I know the principle, I need to contemplate and reflect, and that is what you did. You did the right thing because we can filter out what is not required and what is required. A very important step in any sadhana, any meditation or mindfulness. And once the intellect is inspired, it continues to do the practice. The mind goes deeper in any practice. Answering your questions, I want to pick up uh, a question. What are the means to succeed, and what are not the means to succeed? Let us take it. Let us do Viveka on this so that we can understand clearly. So our understanding grows and we see it. So our masters first they say knowledge of the self alone can lead us to awakening and deeper meditative state. Not sacrifices, not rituals, not rituals means the karma kanda, and also not appeasing the gods and the goddesses. Appeasing god and goddesses. God, give me meditation. So God says, why don't you meditate yourself? So we have a lot of wrong notions. It does not mean that we have disrespect for any god and goddesses. We have disrespect for any ritual. We have disrespect of any sacrifices. No. Our goal is not there. That is not the cup of our tea. Normally, I close your eyes and we say, I'm relaxed. You will be relaxed with eyes closed and stay there without doing anything for 10 or 15 minutes. You'll be relaxed and calm. But that does not mean that it is meditation. So meditation is the true knowledge of the self. Now contemplate and reflect why the master is saying, in Eastern wisdom, we say that if you perform these rituals for a regular period of 3 to 6 months, you get perfection in a particular mantra or japa, and you get lot of powers. We say that. It is possible. But going deeper, pick up this point and work on your mind. You also raised a question in the morning, the mind is the mess. Now I'm giving you a very typical, not typical, but totally out of the box solution, but in the field of awareness, knowledge, and experience. To summarize it, what is that solution? When the mind moves from the physical knowledge to the subtle knowledge, to the subtler knowledge, to the subtlest knowledge, and at the moment of the subtlest knowledge, you are already into the state of meditation. So now we'll understand with reference to the mind is a mess and I do this practice or that. Every practice. One way to explain it that we make the mind subtle. Now, take rituals. We perform those rituals outside. When we perform those rituals outside, the sense organs are the instrument of knowledge, giving me that experience, and meditation is the instrument of knowledge coming from the Eastern wisdom, going behind and beyond the mind. Understanding of that subtle. I was just talking yesterday. The couple told me, the husband was telling me, the moment I look at her, I get crazy and my mind wants to react. But I hold on my mind. I don't show that reaction. See that? Subtle mind is reacting, but still the wife is not able to pick up those impressions. But we need a subtle mind without any object from outside. Another example. With those examples, it will make the things clear. I'm looking at you and you are looking at me. It is the sense organ, it is the physical perception, it is the physical mind. But it is the physical mind. And let the mind go a little more outside. It perceives, it looks at non living things. It is more physical than recognizing and experiencing the physical body. Now, even when you are listening to me, become aware of the breath, feel the breath, and your mind says, yes, I feel the breath. The mind is one, but when it sees the world outside, it is purely a physical mind. By default, it has likes and dislikes. It triggers the past impression. Now, the physical body, now the breath. So, what is happening? The mind is becoming subtle. Now, compare. The mind knows the breath is going on, and the mind knows that my mind is the mess and it has a lot of thoughts. Now, see, which one is subtler? Subtler is that it watches, it feels, and it knows the thoughts. But then where lies the problem? The subtle mind recognizes the thoughts are there, but the mind then jumps outside, it becomes the physical mind. It gathers all the impression through the name and the form. So it is picking subtle mind, picking up the thought, going into the physical mind, and that is what the master says. Master says that meditative state is behind, beyond the senses in the mind. So here lies the catch. Where is the secret? The master introduces a witness consciousness here. I have 1 million thought. This is subtle mind. And what is subtler than it? That I know that I have thoughts. And that I know is subtler than the thoughts. Let me make you understand little deeper. When I say you are standing across the road watching the traffic, there are two things. Watching the traffic is constantly moving. And who is watching, who is knower of that traffic? So the knower is subtler than the traffic. You don't say anything, you are still aware. So when that knower is there behind all the thoughts, you enjoy. Let the thought come in the morning or come in the evening, who cares? You are already separated. The mind is already subtle and you are already. See the wisdom, see the awareness, see the awareness. Standing across the road, watching the traffic. Knowledge is there. There is a knowledge that the traffic is constantly moving. There is a knowledge that I am watching. There is a knowledge that I am different from the traffic. So I separated the two movements. I am in the state of viveka. Let this mind invite all kinds of crazy thoughts. That is one way to understand. The other way to understand this subtler mind is knowing the thoughts are there. But this subtler mind does not want to change its position. So that is what we say, let the thought come, let it. So we live into that awareness. Now the masters, they explain differently, symbolically. They say no ritual outside can help you succeed in meditation. It may help you, maybe purify the mind, maybe give you the good feeling. Further, the master says the scholarship, intellectual exercise, but not doing contemplation and reflection again will not help you succeed. We are talking of very deeper and the higher stages of mindfulness and meditation. And the same thing applies appeasing the God, going to the temple in the church, okay, help me, God, meditate, and the God laughs at you. Why? Why you are looking me outside you? So the mind creates a habit pattern with these rituals and the practices. Now go a little deeper and understand. But keep in mind, oh, it's a physical mind. I see the computer screen, physical mind. I close my eye. I feel the physical body. Still, it is physical, but little deeper. I look at the breath. It's a subtle mind. I look at the thoughts, subtler. Now, I want to see what is behind the thought, and I am absorbed into that space, the subtlest mind. And once you recognize that with a clarity and understanding, you take over the mind. Let us look into the other aspects. The master says the wealth, and in one of the wealth and good works alone cannot help you. The wealth is an aid. It can, at the very lower level, it can help, yes, paying, buying the books, learning from a teacher, helping, yeah, but at a lower level. But the wealth is not a guarantee to succeed in meditation. Wealth is a guarantee to seek a pleasure at the sensuous level. I can buy the food and I can enjoy that pleasure, which is short lived. Now, coming to good works. Good work may be a charitable work, maybe donation. It may help us break the reign of ego, but it is not going to help us succeed in meditation. Secondary level is possible. What is secondary level? Yes, my mind is crazy. So now why it is crazy? Because of that egocentric approach. Why that egocentric approach? Though it is subtle, it is making the things very physical. So when I'm dropping that attachment, my thoughts also drops. So it means good work is not the guarantee to succeed in meditation, but good work helps to purify the mind. We are understanding what are the means and what are not the means to succeed in meditation. Now, understand other aspects of. The master says that I have to understand the desire at its core. So it is the subtle mind can understand what it means by desire. When I say I'm seeking something else, you wake up in the morning and you say the mind is in mess. Oh, that mind is full of seeking something other than me. That is why I have a lot of thoughts. Why those thoughts are in my mind when I wake up in the morning? That is only one reason. So I watch and I look at it. Then I do contemplation and I want to know what kind of a pleasure mind is seeking in that particular thought. And now you are making the mind subtle. You are entering into the field of awareness, knowledge, and experience. The thought has to go. And at the same time, seeking others, first factor, projecting happiness, second factor, and because it is projecting happiness in a person, in an object, and the mind knows everything is changing outside. And that feeling creates an agitation in the mind. Let me have it, let me have it, let me have it. So, when the mind is subtle, what I mean? You are living in awareness, knowledge, and experience, and you realize the subtle mind is more powerful, and you start making the mind subtle and the subtler. The entire thinking drops. So, how the master is explaining, the master says, drop all the desires. They make simple statement. When I don't have any desire, how I have thoughts? One, I have thoughts related to my need, but the mind is not projecting happiness there. How can I have thoughts? How the mind can be in mess if the mind is very subtle. It is looking from behind. The way I gave an example, standing across the road watching the traffic. Let it happen. Okay, watching the traffic. So our masters explain differently, pick up anything. Now another master says the personal effort is must. Personal effort. What is personal effort? So you had the notion before, you told me if I do lot of breathing practices, it helps my mind to calm down. I enter into silence. So the personal effort is the first two steps. Shravanam Mananam and the twofold practice out of the fourfold. Viveka and Vairagya, they are primary practices. So when the mind says, I have lots of challenges, and I feel, follow the simple relaxation practice or the deeper practices that you have been doing last week. So the personal effort starts from the right knowledge that promotes Viveka and Vairagya. And that right knowledge is understood and realized when the mind is subtle. If the mind is not subtle, it will not work. You are looking at an object, the mind says, I want this object, it gives me pleasure, and then now the mind is moving with that object, pleasure, procure it, possess it, own it. The mind is physical, gross. What is the subtle mind? The subtle mind says, okay, oh, you're saying the pleasure is there, but I don't see the pleasure. Oh, it is in thoughts and the feelings inside me, but the pleasure is not there. You have started the viveka, the mind has become subtle. The mind has lot of thoughts, no worries, no worries. Is the traffic police worried about the traffic moving from all the directions? See that subtle mind instantly breaks this influx of the thoughts. So the personal effort should be clearly understood. It starts with the right knowledge. Where is the address? Where is your address? No, I don't find it. So mind is the mess. Now I have to separate. I have to separate your address from the rest. You have given me a hint that your house is gray in color. So I may find two houses gray in color or a single house. Right knowledge that promotes detachment. Right knowledge that brings the clarity. Knowledge. Understand, we are answering the question differently, that why such a mess in the mind? And with reference to making the mind subtle, 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 subtle. Let me give you another beautiful example. Our great master Maharshi Raman, who lived in the Himalayas, in the mountains in South India. Is Guru necessary on the path of meditation and awakening? Maharshi Raman said, yes. So, who is a Guru? Second question. Master, Maharshi Raman says that it is your real self located in the heart is the real Guru. The seeker asked, no, I'm talking of the Guru outside. Maharshi Raman said, let me explain it fully. It is the real self located deep inside your heart, is the only Guru. That Guru is expressed by the outer Guru. That outer Guru is not at all different from your real self. What is the point? Is my mind pure? Is my mind very subtle to see the same self in the name and the form? Who is guiding me? Who is teaching me? Who is educating me? Subtle perception, right perception. Subtle perception, right knowledge. So we are understanding only from one point of view what are the means, what are not the means. And at the same time, I'm saying that can I experience the subtle mind? Can I experience the physical mind? Can I experience the crazy mind? Can I experience the subtlest mind? What is the subtlest mind? Only the infinite space, only oneness. And then we are understanding with reference to what are the means and what are not the means to succeed in meditation. And others see that. Now, another problem, the mind is the mess. We are not doing karma yoga. What is karma yoga? Karma yoga purifies the mind. What is karma yoga? I have explained it hundreds of times. Karma yoga means mind. Mind knows that I'm speaking to you, answering your question. Now, this mind is playing a role of a teacher, mentor, and a guide to you, playing a role. Karma Yoga is that. Now, mind is self centered, it is forcing itself to prove its knowledge and tries to focus through the ego. There is a motivation, there is a desire in the mind in performing a particular action outside. I'm gone. No karma yoga. So, doing action for the sake of doing action, performing the action in the best possible way. Going to the wife, playing the role of a husband. Meeting the son or daughter, playing the role of a father. Going into the business, playing the role of a businessman, an employer. We forget this. And because we forget, the mind triggers the past impression with the desires and motivation, and it makes the mind mess. Realize all those thoughts. I need not to ask you. It is the fact. So we have to redefine that karma yoga. The moment you wake up in the morning, you look at the body, means mentally you look at the body. Come on, my horse, get up. You have to do a lot of stuff. You have to meet so many people, you have to work this, and addressing the body is a horse, my master used to say. Now, what is going to happen? The mind with lot of desires and the motivation behind will drop. The mind blames, no, no, I have to do a lot of stuff. Tell the mind, stop it. I'm not doing anything. Masters, especially the Shankara, Charya, and even the Buddha, and a lot of other masters say that this mess is a delusion in the mind. And the delusion is what we discussed is the seventh step of the eight factors. And that delusion can only be removed by Shravanam Mananam. I don't understand. Let me know the principle. Let me contemplate. Let me move. Or making the mind subtle. You simply make the mind